On everybody, I figured I'd hop on a YouTube live to do some content here. I know it is the last minute, so I might have you guys just trickling in. I'm just getting everything set up for today. It's been a busy day, a lot of things going on, and plenty for us to talk about at the same time as well. So as you guys trickle in, see if I can get some feedback, some questions, and while I'm waiting, I am going to log into all of my resources here. Let us see. And as you jump on, do let me know when you are joining me. Let me know, say hey, where you're coming from. And thanks for joining me kind of middle of the day, I know, for a lot of folks. So I maybe didn't pick the best time, but hey, I figured if you guys can jump on, it'd be a great way to connect, see what's going on, what kind of challenges, struggles, things that we can, work through hopefully on this live. So just give me again like another 2-3 seconds here to get all logged in to everything I want to get set up, and we will jump into everything. Comments turned on. Hopefully. Oh, I don't want to hear myself again. This is all live, baby. So you're going to hear me get everything all queued up, hopping around. But it is all good. It is all good, you guys. Let's see. Okay. I think I might have to leave it there. For those joining me, like I said, let me know once you hop on. Just want to do an impromptu live. We've got Prime Day around the corner. We've got updates in regards to potential title suppressions based on character limits. We've seen this before in the past. And the lingering question, of course, is that sort of threat from Amazon? Does it have teeth to it? Is there going to be literal follow through? Hey, Frank. Hey, Jonathan. Thanks so much for joining me. Very impromptu. Hopefully you're doing great. Jonathan, it's been great to see your questions. You were doing a great job of giving us some great things to cover as part of our Technical Thursdays. If you guys haven't checked those out in our FBA Kings community, I think it's just been invaluable to get myself and Brennan on there, and just really, if we need to go advanced, we can go there. If we need to go more foundational things, we can go there. But those serve to cover so much of what you guys are running into in terms of opportunities to use automations, API, all that good stuff. So great questions, and that's been great to see as well. So throw some questions my way, guys, if you've got anything going on. I am just getting all set up here with ManyChat Zapier, so that way if I need to field some questions in real time, we can do that. That's the beauty of these lives. And we've been jokingly, I'd love your guys' feedback on this. You have to let me know in the comments. Doing something we like to call Taco Tuesdays, where I can hop on, do some really jump into Seller.Tools, really highlight some things that maybe are underutilized features or some of the exclusive features. We thought it would be fun. It could be extremely corny. So you can let me know what you like or what you think in terms of the idea of this themed Taco Tuesday. But we like to have fun, right? You always have to have the one of the things that always stuck with me. I worked at Best Buy as I was going through college and working a side job and whatnot and kind of grinding it out. But one of the things that always stuck with me was the mantra that they shared of and I don't know if this came from the GM or from Best Buy, but it was the idea of having fun while being the best. And so we really try to make sure we're doing both, right? Is really having fun, smiling all day, and then delivering your best work and creating a moat around things that we can only do or we only offer, or you doing the same thing in your business with your products. So that always kind of stuck with me as a really great reminder. Yeah, I think the title thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we have to have some fun with it. See how you guys like it. Some of the feedback that we do get is because the platform is a bit more advanced, is that people want to see some of the more the foundational things, right? We want to make sure we get that right for you guys as well, and that everybody's making the most out of the tools, their access, and all of that good stuff. So let me see here, guys. You can tell I'm not completely ready, but hey, that's how it goes when you hop on a live. But again, just shoot me any questions as you're working through things that you've got going on. I'm going to pull up my screen here in a second and touch on some things that I want to make sure I cover. And before you guys joined us, I was just really talking about the title update, the potential listing suppressions based on character limits. So people have been asking kind of my thoughts on it. I think it's important, again, keep in mind that Amazon has shared this in the past. You do want to delve into the language. I think, Jonathan, you were even on the thread where it's at the FNSKU level, so it has to match what you have there on the back end. So it's, of course, something to keep in mind. I am somebody who would much rather follow through if Amazon sends a warning, not feel the wrath and the follow through. So that is definitely advisable. Keep in mind your circumstance, your category, the language, but ultimately, like I said, you have to feel comfortable with it. I've seen a lot of people ask in Facebook groups, but it's your business at the end of the day. You can welcome feedback and kind of crowdsource the answer, but at the end of the day, Amazon's the one really potentially dropping the hammer to where you want to feel comfortable if you didn't make that change and then your listing comes down and then you lose tens, hundreds of sales. That's sort of the worst case scenario that could very well play out. So you want to keep that in mind as well. I'm going to go ahead and let's see. Let me pull up my screen now. I think I'm all safe. I'm not blasting anything out there. This is one of the things I wanted to make sure I shared with you guys because we served this up and we didn't really broadcast it in a over-the-top way. You can find it now on our homepage, but many of our users don't necessarily navigate to the homepage, so they may not have seen this. But it's 2 exclusive metrics that we have available from the platform, and I have to stress when we say exclusive, that literally means you can't get anywhere else, and that's what's most exciting about these 2. First being Reviewable, where you have review eligibility for an ASIN. You can tap into this by clicking Give Me Access. As you can imagine, we've kind of embraced the fact that we are now ManyChat experts as recognized by ManyChat. So our team is extremely knowledgeable, and we figured, hey, what better way to deliver this information than you be able to have it come through a Facebook Messenger ManyChat flow itself. You just offer up the ASIN, and we can tell you in real time whether or not it is review eligible. So that's your ASIN, that's competitor ASINs. Really use this feature however it's most fitting for you. The low-hanging fruit and the obvious use is really going to be when you're first launching an ASIN, when you're running higher sales velocity efforts in a relatively new account. Because again, our hypothesis is that it's at the category level, it is a ratio of sales to reviews. Now, it's very hard to corroborate that data because you have to have a very deep level of insight. So admittedly, it's some anecdotal insights at scale. We sort of crowdsource those insights. But what ultimately matters is, are you spending time and money on getting reviews? You should as an Amazon seller, but are you, unbeknownst to you, not able to receive them, even if it's in short blips? You can see this take place, let's say, on an hourly basis, a half a day, a full day, a couple of weeks. Without that visibility, you're really throwing caution to the wind. So that's where that, as a free resource, made a lot of sense for us. It's kind of a shameless way to market the fact that we have it on platform. It's only available through us, and now you can tap into it through taking a look at this page. Let me make sure you have quick and easy visibility here. It is reviewable sales by keyword. That's the latter part of the URL string. So keep that in mind as well. And so the other part of this equation, the second exclusive feature, is the estimated sales by keyword. Really cool because, again, nobody else has this, and we've leveraged some available data from Amazon to create, at the keyword level, estimation of sales for the top million keywords, which is a pretty good amount. But while we're working on extending that, running through some additional data analysis that effectively that foundation you can tap into. So it's a pretty solid amount when you're looking at your mid-range keywords. As you can imagine, it does both keyword research insights and product research insights, right? Because you want to know, if I capture visibility for these keywords, what can I expect to gain in terms of sales for that specific keyword. And you can't find this anywhere else. It's for free right now. So would definitely encourage you to check that out. Navigating to this page, hopping through that flow, and then that's all you have to serve up is either the ASIN or the keyword. So simple and easy as that. So let's see. Frank, Jonathan, you guys have any other questions for me? Anything else I can cover? Because if not, I'm going to just hop into my Seller.Tools account and do some process pieces, some insights into, let's say, one of the things I've been asked about more recently is how to effectively manage more keywords. We get this a lot from higher level sellers that are managing so much more in their respective accounts. Makes total sense, right? Without visibility, without those keywords on your radar, you're really left guessing in terms of the potential performance, your performance against that keyword. And so one of the examples I can share with you here is, let's say this ASIN here. It's one of our start ASINs. So when you start a ASIN in your product manager, it effectively locks it at the top of your view. It's sort of implied, again, that you're keeping a greater pulse on that respective ASIN. And so with about 2,000 keywords, if I go and click on that ASIN, get brought over to the keywords manager, there's a few different ways that I can make sure that those 2,000 keywords are really organized in a very clean, easy, and intuitive way. So I'm going to go over 2 or 3 of these real quick, and then I'll make sure I get to your question, Jonathan. Is starring the same way we did in the product manager. It effectively then still keeps those keywords in the top of your view. So if I wanted to star a few more of these, I could do that. And then any other filtering, changing, sorting I do to the dashboard or to this view, those starred keywords will remain fixed to the top. So it's really your high priority. Think about maybe the top 5, 10 keywords that you're managing, how you can keep those nice and clean, and your high priority, higher on your radar keywords, start from there. Then we have the ability to tag your keywords. Now this is typically something I would recommend using if you're running like a time sensitive promotion, you're working with an influencer, you've got Facebook ads that are impacting specific keywords. Tagging is a really easy way to do that. So, I mean, if you added a syntax that makes sense for you, of course. So Facebook promo, let's say I wanted to, for my purposes, add a date, add a time, you could just as easily do that as well. And you, again, can do this at the keyword level, and just by starting to add it in, because we've already created that tag, it's as simple as that. And then these tags, again, applied to each one of these keywords, we can do a lot with this. We can add that filter. If we did it, let's say, to 10 keywords and we only wanted to see those 10 keywords, filter by tags, go ahead and click has all, and then select a tag from there, my newly created Facebook promo. And this is something I think most people underutilize, because if you're doing a lot of paid promotion, external traffic, you're doing all these things that are explicitly for keyword rank and keyword impact, you really should be thinking about how you can more effectively organize this data. Now, mind you, because this is a test account and these keywords are, I still have all the Amazon data, all this good stuff here, of course, but you're not having the visibility into things like rank, because this is effectively fake data behind this particular product. But that's what you really want to keep an eye on, because if I was running a promotion all 3 of these, I would sure as heck want to know those rank changes at a high level visibility, and of course taking it to the next level where I am by selecting all 3 of these. You guys may know now that you can create alerts for those ranking changes. So if I'm doing a heavy push, I want page 1 visibility. That should be the fruits of my Facebook promotion. I should be creating alerts for that ranking and specifying that criteria in this bulk keyword alert configuration. So I specify that condition. I want it less than, let's say, 10. I mean, I really want to get page one, really great solid visibility for these keywords, and then identify what type of alerts I get when I achieve that ranking. Simple and easy as that, but tagging does it in an elegant way. This alert configuration, especially with bulk alerts now, where you can just do this all in a handful of clicks, makes it so easy for you to stay tapped into, hey, when did I meet that objective? Am I easily managing these keywords in my account through tagging, through starring, whatever works best for you in that cross section of time. So I'm going to click out. I'm going to nix that filter for now so we have visibility again back into all the keywords in my account. What's going on, Benjamin? Hey, hope you're doing great. And then I'm going to go ahead and just nix these tags. And it's just as easily as hovering over those tags, clicking the X, and those are gone. So keyword management, really easy to do. Again, because we really encourage managing as many keywords as possible, it's sort of intuitive that you keep in mind how to take in a bunch of data and make sure it stays clean, and you're really managing it from there. There is, again, additional options, whether it's changing the state of the keyword. So if you change, let's say a pretty high TSI keyword, and I'll cover what that entails. We want to pause it for some reason. I can't think of why you would want to do this, but if you wanted to pause it, what that entails is we want to confirm that you want to take that step, because it no longer counts against your active keyword totals, your billing totals in your Seller.Tools account, but you still get visibility into that impression data as well as indexation. So hugely important. This dovetails back into the conversation with respect to potential listing suppressions based on title and character limits. If you're de-indexed and you don't have visibility, you often lose money before you figure that out, right? Because indexation is visibility at the keyword level. You don't have that. You're not earning those sales. You just have to have it. It's so important. No matter how you get it, whether it's through Seller.Tools or however you configure it, make sure you don't lose money first before you're informed of that de-indexation. Same way with the keyword alerts. We can just as easily create that index alert here. And when indexation is false, when I am not indexed, I want that alert instantly. I want to be informed as soon as possible as to when that takes place at the keyword level. So use paused if you're really up against your keyword totals, and you want to just save that much more. This is a great way to, not your higher TSI plus keywords. It's really going to be your lower end, off the radar slightly, but still want that index visibility keyword. I'm going to go ahead and change that back to active, because of course, if we archive it through that drop down, where it's going to take us, and this keyword is over to archived. And that's where we would have visibility into that as well. Just a comment. Let's see. Let me grab some of these questions. Just a comment about state of getting reviews. Someone I'm connected with recommends 2 reviews per 10 orders in general. I honestly do not feel like there is a suitable rule of thumb, Jonathan, only because the reason why we hypothesize that it's the category level is the volatility. We'll see a prime example and we think, oh, well, now we've got it. We've honed in, we can quantify it. And then we'll see something that sort of flies in the face of that in really a different category. The other nuance, of course, is that we have only so much visibility. There's sometimes the case with anecdotal insights at scale, because you need the quantity to be able to provide that proof of concept, but the quality can sometimes be lacking as well. Like, we don't always know how long the account has been live, what other seller activity, have they had other performance notifications. There's just so many variables at play that what we recommend based on what we've seen with that major preface is that you do really keep in mind your sales to review as a ratio. As we get more information, we'll be sure to share it. But what's ultimately most important from my perspective for a seller is you just have to know. You have to have that visibility. You don't want to find out through some means. You come back into a Seller.Tools account, you turn on Reviewable, you see, oh man, for two or 3 days, I wasn't review eligible. I spent time, I spent money, and unbeknownst to me, that's why I've got a goose egg in that review capture column. Cool. Great question. Let's see. I think alerts, since we've gone over index alerts, I think those are really great things to touch on. Let's see here. I think to your question, Jonathan, I would make sure, it's a great point. This is something I wanted to touch on. Your title changes, you absolutely want a alert to be sent your way. So whether that is a forced by Amazon title change, that's exactly what this alert is meant to give you visibility into. Because as soon as that takes place, you can have that Facebook Messenger notification. We've gone over how you can use webhooks. Webhooks in this case, I would probably say is a bit more advanced for the scenario. The only way where my mind often goes with using webhooks is the assignment into your project management tool. That is so next level that it is more advanced. Ultimately, it's not just getting a ping or getting another email in your inbox. We made that available, but we know that that's kind of like, that's archaic in terms of alerts and their utility. Facebook Messenger we're all on Messenger, so there is an immediacy element there, and we can still act. But the webhooks really sets you up for like, okay, I want everything that is important to be done by a VA or a member of my team. I don't want any bottlenecks. I don't want to be, that's when you're really working on your business and not in it, is when you're using technology and people to address even the most problematic major trend changes, just like this, where listing suppression could very well take place. So it's a great question and a great point. And for those that haven't, let me go just through a kind of a fresh walkthrough on how to configure those title alerts. So let's see, I'm going to nix this alert so I can set it up for it. So we add alert, and let's see, we want to do this for the sleep mask for women. That's the short title, so keep that in mind. That's not the actual optimized title. So for this ASIN in particular, select the title as the condition, and if it has changed. Now I'm kind of clicking through that quickly, but essentially what I did was title has changed. Click continue. Pick how I want to be notified. Again, Seller.Tools API you can configure with that webhook. Facebook Messenger is another option. And email and in-app, these again are kind of more old school, but it really depends what makes sense to you. There's enough variability there to ensure that it's it makes sense. So Facebook Messenger, let's see. Hopefully I'm not, okay, yeah. So Brendan, we can blow up Brendan if the title has changed, and he'll be informed right away. So if I configure that, I can test it. Another cool thing that we added that kind of slyly introduced it itself was being able to test it. So that way you can double, triple check that you have Messenger set up okay, you're receiving messages okay, notifications are configured, whether you want a ding, whether you want the just the notification itself to pop up. You can test it there as well. Easy peasy. So go ahead and click done, saved, and then it drops it into my alerts dashboard. Big thing to keep in mind, big request that we've been getting is bulk alert additions. In the same way you saw how quickly I can make changes to keyword ranking alerts, I can do just the same with index alerts. We received that feedback, and you should expect something really exciting with that soon too. So you can take some of these exclusive alerts, take even things like webhooks, and do them in a bulk, expedited fashion at the end of the day. So great questions as always, Jonathan. You guys have anything else you want to touch on? I can keep jumping into the platform. If I go right back to this product, because we have touched on keyword states, we have touched on tagging and filtering once you add those tags. The search option, again, one thing to keep in mind is that you can include and exclude terms. Again, this sort of implies that you're managing a lot of thousands of keywords, which is great, which is highly recommended. They're on your radar, you have visibility, you have performance insights. You can easily turn that on and off to kind of narrow your search from there. One thing I also want to touch on, since we're talking about keywords, is what type of visibility Seller.Tools uniquely gives you. Go for it, Jonathan. If you've got a bunch of questions, let's do it, man. That's what these are for. We've got impression data, as I touched on, broad and exact. So again, we do also have that on a historical basis for trend analysis, that type of thing. Competitor insights, one of the other awesome exclusive pieces to Seller.Tools. If you look for this anywhere else, and even on Amazon, you'll get a rounded number. We actually give the exact competitors, so you can really get a sense of that density. You're not just taking a shorthand or a rounded or an estimate. to arrive at competitors. So that's another kind of cool exclusive. And then we've got TSI Plus. Now, what's really important to understand about TSI Plus is that it is us leveraging Amazon data. We've really struggled because we've thought about really revealing how we've done it because it's so elegant, the way that our team has been able to tap into Amazon data for this data point. But effectively what it is, it's a 10-point scale measuring, really it's the convergence of relevancy and volume. That's the way I like to describe it because it factors in your ASIN, the specific keyword, and it looks at both search volume and the relevancy of your product to that specific keyword. So what you'll often find is sometimes you have high TSI plus keywords for things that are mostly a little bit heavier bent to volume. There's so much search volume that there's an opportunity for you to capitalize, glean, pull that traffic for a specific keyword. And in other cases, you're just so relevant, even at a low volume, that you have a higher TSI plus. But that's really the beauty behind it, is you want both, right? If there's a ton of demand and you're just one step removed, you want to be visible. You want that keyword on your radar. You want to actively manage it. In the same way, if you're relevant, but there's the potential for you to be a big fish in a small pond, well, shoot, take full advantage and leverage TSI Plus for that explicit benefit. So if you're using it for the first time, the stupid simple way that you can leverage it is add in as many keywords. We're talking brand analytics, manual inputs, search term reports, running an R2A, running a last search. This isn't just looking at a reverse ASIN search and looking at keyword density. That is a 3-year-old keyword research methodology. It's not very sophisticated. It's simple math. And we're seeing that time and time again. And this is where Amazon data, I don't know why it would get a bad rap since it's effectively the source, but this is where it's the cream of the crop. Because anything else is everybody else chasing their tail. You know, you do keyword research like this, and then somebody has to win, and that's where as Seller.Tools user, you have that competitive advantage because we're still injecting that data, and it's so elegant, it's so easy on a 10-point scale. Add in as many keywords as you can, sort, and then you're off to the races. Then you leverage additional insights where we've done case studies on weighting of listing elements, how you actually build your listings with that data in mind. But it's so easy, so simple. It's almost so easy that you can complicate it because you think there's something, you may feel like there's something else there, but there's not. It's really straightforward. So if we get enough requests, we might peel back the curtain a little bit. Obviously, it's a bit of our competitive advantage as Amazon data has been lacking in the marketplace. And so, let us know what you would like to see there. In the same way, Pulse is also leveraging Amazon data where we're effectively identifying your optimization at the keyword level. So what it lets you know is you want every keyword to be green. That's the ultimate goal. If you are not optimized, that's really where you need to reconsider the placement, your use of that keyword, the frequency, the weighting of listing elements. Have you garnered optimized sales through an optimized link, your PPC efforts? There's a number of factors. I have a article on the blog that was really helpful, the Seller.Tools blog that talks about Pulse. So keep that in mind and how these two work together, because one is keyword prioritization, the other one's keyword performance, and we like to keep it simple. Everything else you may just find you're just looking at red ocean keyword. Oh, everybody's going after this, then I need to, and I'm not going to do anything different. Like this is a more nuanced, Amazon-driven, data-driven way to really do keyword research. Do it right ultimately. So. Cool, Jonathan, don't be shy. You have those questions. Hopefully I have the answers. And if I don't, I will tell you as much. I will I will be very open about my desire to be right, but I don't always have the answers, of course. While we're in the keyword manager, let's also take a look at brand analytics data. So search frequency rank. This is kind of another cool thing that we offer. Whether or not you're brand registered, whether or not you have brand analytics at all. Make sure I'm zoomed down here. You have it if you're a Seller.Tools user. And so we use the same naming convention as brand analytics itself, so search frequency rank. Very similar to BSR, where you're actually looking for a lower rank, but that implies a greater search frequency. So keep that in mind. So as you can imagine here, sleep mask for our product 761 search frequency rank fairly high, and it gives you full visibility into really the top 3 ASINs competing for this specific keyword. And you've got click share as a percentage, you have conversion share, so you see how many are garnering those clicks, converting those clicks, and it's really cool insight and visibility. And even in this example where we see that third ASIN where maybe they're not bringing in as much of the click share, but they have a disproportionate amount of the conversion share, do you think it would be good to look at that listing and figure out, hey, how are they capitalizing? How can I reverse engineer their conversion efforts? Do I ensure that I have this ASIN? I need to make sure I have it and pulled over to, as an example, my competitor builder. Very intuitive to make sure you're keeping tabs on it. Let's go ahead and see. I'm gonna search for this ASIN. Yep, I do have visibility. I ran a AMZ report card recently. I've got BSR visibility because I've added it. It is identified as much here. And then keyword density. This is another really cool metric where it's just visibility. It's something not to really obsess over, but it's kind of a validation of the performance of a competitor. If they're ranking, if they have greater keyword density, there's somebody you want to make sure the next step is in your keyword or your competitor builder. Am I monitoring that ASIN? Am I leveraging that ASIN for PPC efforts? Monitoring performance as well. And then there's more advanced strategies you can deploy on top of that. You can add this ASIN to your product manager. You can see their reviewable status. You can set even index alerts, keyword alerts. Now, don't go crazy with that because you can really obsess over your competitors, and that's not what I would recommend. You need to be so good that they're doing that to you, but you're not reciprocating, right? You're sort of you're really cutting through the space to where you're setting the bar, and everybody's wondering, what the heck are you doing? This guy's using Zapier, he's using mini chat flows, his listing is expertly optimized, his PPC is so omnipresent. That's really what you want to achieve, to where they're doing this. They're going through these same steps, trying to see these metrics and scores. And it's just going to be my luck that I'm going to get the spinning wheel here of keyword density. I probably, before doing this live, should have closed out of a few different menus here, but so it goes. So it goes. Yep, it's going to continue to go. So hopefully that doesn't happen for you guys, but at least what I'll do, let me run an up-to-date AMZ report card, because this is the low-hanging fruit, is making sure that you, at the very least, let me move my head real quick, that you add this to your product, copy these keywords, because what these are, is using AMZ report card, is the keywords that Amazon would effectively use to describe this listing. So as you can imagine, you want to know what your TSI plus is for these keywords. You want to know how you're performing via Pulse. So adding it to your product is very intuitive. Copying it, bringing it over to your PPC campaigns, you can definitely leverage that as well. But ultimately, it's kind of what's next. Okay, I know this competitor via brand analytics data is really converting at scale. I can review their ASIN. I can nab their keywords in a one fell swoop, and I can add those keywords to my product as well. And it's just as easy and as simple as that. If you haven't seen the keyword processor before, I have a video on this that gives you some of the shorthands, and that's a little bit more involved. I think I'll hold off on that for now, because I'm definitely doing a lot of keyword specific insights. Let me hop back over. Jonathan, still no new questions. You gotta let me know if you've got those questions. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna move this back over. We may start doing more of these again moving forward, if you guys find these helpful, to talk about the latest, what's going on, kind of do something impromptu. I think it's also just a really cool way to break up the day. One of the things I shared in the FBA Kings group, which I think is kind of a unique circumstance, is that I do see sellers spending a lot of time consuming content. It's really tricky, because we want to share our content and our insights, and I want our team, invaluable insights, growing businesses at scale, that I want to share that with you, but I don't want to add to the noise. I don't want you to feel like, oh man, this is a distraction from really taking action, because that action orientation in our business is so important that it's what we touched on before. No bottlenecks, remove your, working on your business, not in it. Because an FBA centric or Amazon centric business, it lends itself to a lot of redundancies, a lot of potential efficiencies. It's really kind of the silver lining of some of the monotony in the business is that you can delegate, you can automate, you can outright remove and delete parts of your business that are not fruitful. So something to keep in mind, and we'll kind of keep that in mind with us with content, is making sure that it's immensely powerful, immensely practical. It's as high level as we can take it. I want it to feel as much of our team that is the top sellers, the literal top sellers on Amazon. What can we glean, synthesize, and pass along to where it's actionable, and we're not just another podcast piece of content that's going to keep you from getting the results you want ultimately. As a new seller and as a techie, I understand well on the technical level. I was wondering over some examples when I should throw away keywords and keep them. So for the most part, Jonathan, you really should aim to really keep keywords. My shorthand, kind of my rule of thumb, is 800 to 1,000 keywords per ASIN. That is really your pocket, a really great range of managing keywords, because that speaks to both your paid strategies and your organic strategies, right? Because if you're optimizing a listing, you're using every part and piece of listing elements to inject those keywords. You're really starting to run up that limit, and then even your foundational PPC is going to use quite a bit of keywords as well. And so, that's kind of the rule of thumb I work with. Because we still have things like TSI and Pulse, we have automatic keyword harvesting as well. You'll see this little bell ring once you have new keywords. You'll often see this in a very cyclical fashion, or when you just add your first group of keywords. Once Seller.Tools and effectively Amazon knows what your ASIN is, how you describe it as your master keyword, that's where we're allowed to do the heavy lifting to automatically serve that up to you, make those relevancy decisions through Keyword Processor. But it's sort of like new ammunition, new things to explore with your PPC efforts, re-optimizing your listing. And I know a lot of sellers are going to do this with this title change. They're going to go back and figure out, hey, how can I do more with less? And really keyword stuff, and then focus on readability, and hopefully in that order, their respective titles. So if there's specifics too, Jonathan, I got the 9 with heart, but I feel like those keywords don't describe my product well. I got a 9 with yellow with higher TS. Okay, great question. So if they are 9, those are really high priority keywords. If you're not showing as optimized via Pulse, if you haven't seen it, there is that graphic is going around with title, subject matter. I'm totally gonna brain fart on it now. Effectively, the weighting of listing elements. I actually think the video that Brennan did, it's making its way further up in FBA Kings, because we've been alluding to that, because many people have been hearing about this, but you haven't seen a true case study. I would encourage you to check that out. If you kind of want tangible proof, it's a good way of like cutting through like, wait, I've heard this or I've seen that, and then there's no data to support it. It's a really cool example where we spent like a day showing the weighting of some of those listing elements. But also what will help you, Jonathan, is that article through Pulse. It's kind of some of the things we touched on is the weighting of listing elements. Of course, making sure that you have long-term indexation. If you've just recently achieved index for those keywords, you want to make sure that you've maintained that over time. But those will be some of the things to keep in mind. But that's a really good question, because that's exactly what's going on here. Now, keep in mind, we've got a high TSI Plus score for this product because there is a good amount of volume. There is some degree of relevancy, but it's both of them together are butting up to equate to a higher TSI Plus, and then we're indexed, but effectively not optimized. So of course, I would revisit that title, that subject matter. What is my PPC? Am I converting on PPC? Can I push? Can I force optimize sales through optimize URLs to help with Pulse and ensuring that relevancy? But those are really the first things that you want to take a look at to positively impact pulse. Cool. Awesome. Great question. Let us see. So I've added that ASIN. Do I have it still here on my list? I sure do. Let's hop over to R2A. I'll just do a few of the things. If you guys still have questions as I'm going through, let me know. But I'm going to take this keyword, this kind of competitor analysis to the next level here. Since I've run an AMZ report card, I've got Amazon-centric data. Now I can run an R2A, real reverse ASIN as we like to call it, where by leveraging Cascade, we can see any variations, any hidden listings, anything that's associated with that ASIN at the keyword level, we've got visibility into in one fell swoop. Saves you time and often cases can give you, let's say an ASIN sells out, but they've been ranking for keywords, your run-of-the-mill reverse ASIN won't be able to pull the keywords. This is where Cascade comes into play. So as you can imagine, like if you run something on Prime Day, these really heavy seasonality where products are running out of stock, that's exactly where that comes into to play, where they may be ranking for keywords, but you don't see the ASIN. Cascade captures everything, every variation, all those hidden listings in one fell swoop. Let me go ahead and I'll run a search. Let me jump back over to, let's see, Mike's questions. 800 to 900, there's no way I can make up that many from a niche product listing I have. I mean, there can always be exceptions to that rule, Mike, but that's also sometimes where you get more creative. If what happens with your niche, your product, is that there is a ton of density, that the wins may be on the fringes. And what I mean by that is that there may be blue ocean opportunities where there's not a lot of people coming in at searching, finding, and buying that product that you can take advantage of. Like our example, a sleep aid for our sleep mask, that's not really an intuitive keyword, but is that something where I can still capture incremental traffic, convert it quite well, be optimized for it, but it's kind of a fringe. It's not intuitive, but that may be exactly why it's a blue ocean keyword. So that example might be a little bit more extreme, but I allude to it because I think it plays to the point of if it's extremely dense, if you only have 100, 200 keywords that everybody's going after, you need to be optimizing consistently, pulse visibility. You need to be really staying tapped into your PPC efforts. You need to be adding some sophistication with keyword ranking alerts, running automations, using ManyChat. You have to figure out a strategic advantage with that backdrop of that density, right? So that's something to keep in mind. If you've got more specifics you'd like to share, I mean, I can always take a look. There's an exception to every rule, of course, but that starting place with that rationale is what I really like to share for most sellers. So now that I've run this R2A search, we've got Cascade selected. Same thing here, where I have essentially gleaned the keywords that this ASIN ranks for in the top 50 positions. So what this ensures is that I'm not looking at low value keywords outside of the scope of, let's say 200, 300, where it may be low value. It may be something that I if I go through and bring that into the keyword processor, I'm going to be kind of wasting time because they're not even effectively ranking well for those keywords. So something to keep in mind is that the focus, the scope of R2A is really meant to give you the highest powered keywords that a ASIN effectively ranks for. Same level of visibility. We're not rounding off competitors, so you have that specifically. You've got categories where, again, you can sort by categories as needed if that impacts your product, your respective category. And then we have impression data here as well for both exact and broad. In the same way as with our keyword manager, our product manager, you can again add these additional filters to sort, to filter as needed. But more often than not, the beauty again of TSI Plus, we kind of bring this back, is that if you want to welcome as many inputs of keywords as you'd like, again, keeping in mind top 50, we're starting from a place where it's high value keywords en masse into our keyword manager allows us to just easily sort by TSI Plus. Same steps here, add to product, pick our ASIN, and call it good. You can again export this data if it's going to be added and used for your PPC efforts or whatever you might find fruitful there. Man, time has flown by. I realized I've been on this live for about an hour. Why don't we go ahead and I will wrap up for now. You guys let me know if you have any other last minute questions. I appreciate those of you that joined me live, those that check this out after. Please be sure to click to get notifications on future videos. I might do this more. Try to just share value based on what's going on, walk through Seller.Tools, and answer your questions in real time. I would say my video might be a little, hopefully you guys can still see me in high definition. I know that's not essential, but it would be nice. Let's see. Do I have any last questions, you guys, for me before I wrap it up? I'm gonna hop back over here just as a reminder to leverage this, of course, if you haven't already. And I would encourage you to share as well. If you know anybody else in the community that would find benefit to really cool exclusive features to take advantage of. Cool. Jonathan, shoot, let's hear it. Oop. Bring me back up here. What questions do you have for me? Let me know, let me know. What other good stuff can we go over? One of the really kind of easy and simple thing is when we're talking about automatic keyword harvesting, it's really easy, whether you want to have that featured or not, is to select or deselect keyword suggestions. So let's say you're like, wait, I've been managing keywords for like 6 months. I'm in a good way. I don't want any more keyword suggestions. Boom, you just click that, save it, and you will not get any future notifications on that ASIN for new keyword suggestions. But I love that feature. It's another exclusive. It's a prime example of a tool doing the work for you. So once it comes in, you have those inputs, and then you can make the decision right from there. Let's say I run a PPC keyword campaign. I'm getting started on a keyword. Seller.Tools is super. You recommend I do something in Seller.Tools. So some of the things to keep in mind. So if you're super relevant for it, it's probably a relatively high TSI plus keyword. More often than not, I should start by saying I often recommend break even or even more aggressive PPC strategies, even in the short term. So in terms of what you can do in Seller.Tools, you can re-optimize, you can change the placement of that keyword. The frequency we've seen have somewhat diminishing returns. So I think placement right now, exact phrase, so whether it's a word or phrase, using it as it performs, as it's going to be added to your PPC, using it in that same convention or syntax in your listing. But honestly, if it's a higher TSI plus keyword, again, me sharing my philosophy, that's really what I would strive to do is spend until you perform on it. I like omnipresence. I like people seeing my sponsored product right next to the organic search. They are more apt to click through your product when they see it twice, when they've got double vision. So if it's that important of a keyword, I would say be willing to increase and oftentimes overspend, but for that objective. And then when you reach that point, that's where you can kind of make that hard decision of, wait, do I want to just be organically visible or do I want organic and paid right there? Because you have to remember, when you do this with Amazon, you're feeding the beast. Any other paid advertising platform is immensely transactional. So if I spend money on Facebook, I'm doing it to monitor click-through rates, and I'm CPC, and I want the purchase, the conversion at the end of the day. With Amazon, it's like a snowball that you're rolling. Oh man, live video. It's like a snowball that you're rolling to really get organic and paid sales, realize that synergy, realizing the rank benefits over time so that you win visibility. That's not something you do in the same way with Facebook. It can't give me visibility all of a sudden where that's ultimately the objective of deploying that type of strategy. So major point of difference on paid advertising platforms, and where Amazon can be the gift that keeps on giving, because you're giving a keyword specific ads and you're performing well on those, and then you're getting organic rank benefits, and then you're doing organic strategies driving external traffic with optimized links. So you're giving it every single signal to really be able to deliver, right? One thing I'll share, as I put a post together in FBA Kings group, and I really wanted to just share like the 4 things that if you obsessed over, you would beat 98% of the sellers out there. And it's expert level optimization. You know, you can leverage Seller.Tools to achieve that. It's exact match or overspend on PPC. It's leveraging last launch on a selective keyword level basis. We've seen a lot of mini launches, smaller launches. Perfect. That's a great way to get sales velocity in a tight window. You still can't rank keywords in many other ways in 4 to 5 days the same way you can with a similar solution. And then finally, mini chat. We're big on mini chat because it safeguards your time, gives you disproportionate results. It checks off like a dozen boxes from ranking, reviews, better customer support, negative review mitigation, list building. It allows you to facilitate more brand equity, brand loyalty. I mean, you name it. Anything that you could come up that's an upside for you as somebody who wants to build a brand and even build a brand off Amazon ultimately. Yeah, mini chat lets you do that. So I'm going to step right off of my soapbox. Cool. Hopefully that was helpful, Jonathan. Like I said, guys, please feel free to share this if you found this helpful, to just hop on a live. We'll do more of these if you let me know that they were helpful. So let me know in the comments any questions, any feedback that you got for me. I would definitely welcome it. Let me hop this back over. And if you are joining us not in real time, be sure to click on the notifications so you get notified of future videos, of future content, so I can answer your questions live. This is where this is really cool because it's hopefully valuable to be able to do this all in real time. Cool. Thanks for that, Jonathan. Thank you all for, again, joining me live. Yeah, hopefully this was helpful. I will leave it right there, guys. So have a great and wonderful rest of your day.